Alright, so now I'm going to grab our text tool here and just click on that. And what we want to do is click and drag a box. And you can just start typing right away. You don't need to, you know, click anywhere else. Just start typing right away. Okay, so if what you typed didn't fit in the text box, that's fine. I'm going to show you how to make those edits. But first, let's look at our sequence timeline here. You can see where this put it in the layer panel. It makes it like this pinkish purplish box. So just again, start to identify with some of these colors and what these boxes look like. Up here we can see in our effect control panel all the different options for this component. And it looks a little overwhelming, a little bit confusing. So just to simplify things, especially here in the beginning, what I'm going to recommend is these little like triangles that are pointing down. We're going to click on those just to minimize everything possible. Alright, so there's a couple different main categories that you can't get rid of. But you're also going to see this one for text. And we can click on that triangle to open it up. And now we can see all the text options. Alright, before we can make any changes, we need to select our text. So you're just going to click between any two letters. And the keyboard shortcut to select everything in text box is Command A. And that's going to select everything, even the stuff that we can't see. So now we can just take this little slider here. This is our font size. And we can just drag it one way or the other so that way it fits how we want it to. We can also change our font style here if we wanted to. We can change our alignment, and so you can play around with all these different options. You can make things small caps, italics. You can get as creative with this as you want. If you keep scrolling down, you're going to see an option to change the color. So we could just double click that box and pick a color. Stroke refers to its outline color. In graphic design, we call that a stroke, not a border, not an outline. We refer to it as a stroke. This is unchecked. You could check that if you wanted to. Sometimes it's going to be helpful for you to have a background color and maybe just a low opacity applied to that. So that way, if you got like a busy background, and you can also apply a little drop shadow to it, so there'd be a little shadow behind the text. Again, we got a black background, so a lot of this maybe you can experiment with later. We also have a position component just for this text box, because in a single layer we can have multiple text boxes, we can have multiple shapes and all kinds of things. So this transform component here belongs to this specific text box. So we can, if you hover your mouse over the position of this, you'll see your cursor can change, and you can click and drag in either direction and you can move it. You could click in there and give a very specific number. So that's an option as well. And the other is the X value. So we have an X and Y coordinate here. Scale. We also have rotation and opacity. So those are going to be the other two things that you might want to play with. All right, so let's look at something called a keyframe. And what this is going to be is just a simple animation. All right, so um, let's just move our text off of the screen here. So I'm just going to move it all the way to the left so it's not being shown and displayed on our screen. Also, um, so that's going to be our starting position. So whenever we're animating something and we're working with keyframes, we want to set it first to its starting position. And notice this little playhead here. Okay, this will play. Um, this is just kind of a smaller representation of what's going down on your timeline. All right, so in either case, we want to move this playhead to the far left right here because that's when this component first appears. So that's step one. Again, set it to its original position, its starting point. All right, then we're going to click this little stopwatch here. It's going to turn blue. This creates this diamond. This diamond's a keyframe. A keyframe identifies whenever something is going to change. All right, so that's what's going on. Now we're going to move our playhead. Let's just move it somewhere near the end. And this is going to be its stopping point of the animation. So now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to make this move. Maybe I want it to end right there. All right, so we have two diamonds. And what this is going to do, the computer is going to automatically create this smooth transition between those two diamond shapes. So if I press my space bar to play this, you're going to see what it did. All right, the closer that these two diamonds are together, the faster the animation, the farther they are apart, the more gradual and slow the animation. So that's keyframes. So go ahead, I want you to add, and you can do these animations with anything. You could do this with scale. You could start it off really small and make it gradually get bigger. You could rotate it. You could change the opacity of it. Start off with an opacity of 0 and have it fade in to 100%. So I want you to apply a second animation to this. And to submit this, what I'm going to have you do, just take a screenshot of this little work area and show me your two animations. We did one together. I want you to do another one on your own.